powerful propaganda systems no longer use this weapon. Whatever the diversity of countries and methods, they have one characteristic in common: concern with effectiveness. Footnote: Goebbels said, "We do not talk to say something, but to obtain a certain effect." And F.C. Bartlett accurately states that the goal of propaganda is not to increase political understanding of events, but to obtain results through action. Propaganda is made, first of all, because of a will to action, for the purpose of effect.
Hi. Oh my gosh. Okay, here we are. It is Friday night, and I am here a little bit later than usual because of the craziness of the week, but I'm here nonetheless. And I'm really excited because there's a lot of fun things to talk about. It has been an interesting week of propaganda that we can review. A lot of interesting hot takes from the Republicans. They just keep making it inevitable for the communists to take over. I don't know. That's a long rant in the making. But I think it's going to be an interesting discussion. So I am going to give it 2 more minutes, and we are going to start discussing this week in review, propaganda review. Got my favorite drink. It's like a tonic. I don't drink alcohol anymore. Unfortunately, I just really can't do it. I'm gonna fix this. Oh my let me just post on Twitter just to, I don't know if posting links is bad, but I'll just go ahead and do it. Weaponized narratives. That's a good title. I like that. Okay. All right. That's what we're here for. Okay. Let me turn the music off. Okay, we're gonna get started. So the first thing that we need to discuss is the lovely storyline that is happening right now. Now I know that it's been a long time coming that we've been seeing all of the different narratives that have been floating around. And this week, we get to see more of it rearing its ugly head. Oh, and also, I got this amazing little documentary trailer that I want to play for everybody around the education system. I don't know, maybe I should save that for a separate video, but it was an amazing little trailer. I was shocked. And it's a video that I can't find anywhere streaming. I'm going to have to buy the DVD and then get a DVD player and then watch it that way. It's crazy how they can memory hole something from just 2014. like not that long ago, because we just don't even use those. We just don't even use those things anymore. Let me see. Okay. I'm going to get up the first story. Oh my gosh. Let me see what's going on. Okay, perfect. All right, let me get it in here. Oh my gosh. It's been a crazy, crazy week. There's so many things. Oh, what I wanted to start off with though was, okay, so last week I had discussed the whole progressive modification, I would say, of like history along the lines of Britain and like the natives to Britain and things like that. And we touched on it. I have to redo the video because it was banned because of playing that BBC clip, that horrible thing that doesn't even need to be played. It's like so terrible. But basically it was a clip where it was like horrible history. It was a BBC show, and they were explaining how, you know, black people were native to Britain and it's just been forever, you know, whatever, so on and so forth. So now, as this agenda, and we touched on it, was a progressive disclosure that they were playing out, and I'm going to call it that way, where they introduce the concept, or they sort of just hint at the concept, like, oh, British people, white people, Anglo-Saxons, they're not really native to Britain. And then, you know, they pushed it further and they pushed it further and they pushed it further. You know, not to like really enrage or rile anybody up. They just, you know, put something out there and slowly ratchet it up over time. Yeah, England is super woke. Super woke. So we have here, now there's a children's author, and it's funny how they're always targeting the children. It's so weird. When they want to like change history, they seem to like target the kids first. I don't know why. It just must be a coincidence. But now we have this author. Stonehenge was built when Britain was a black country. New children's book claims. So fun. So fun. Yeah, wokeness has infiltrated most of the media institutions in the UK, Sally. Yeah, UK is like super woke. They're ready for the wokeness. They're all there for it. But yeah, this storyline, obviously they're just pushing it more and more and more, and soon within, you know, this generation, by the time they grow up, there will be no doubt in their mind, essentially, that white people aren't native to Britain. All types of people are native to Britain. What's the big deal? And you might say, oh, that's not a huge problem, but we all know why they're doing that. They're doing that to erase history. We don't like that. You know, a lot of people say things like Egyptians weren't like Africans. Yeah. Okay. Well, whoever they weren't Anglo-Saxons either. So, you know, it's the same line. There was a huge outrage when Gods of Egypt was made, and they had like Welsh actors playing Egyptian priests. You know, it didn't make any sense. So it would make sense that equal outrage would be displayed in this instance, but I guess not. Hey, what's up? Okay, so they're pushing it slowly and slowly. They obviously, it's going to be more difficult to convince adults, so they're just going to target the kids. So we'll see how these agendas progress. Just lovely how they make sure, you know, make sure that we understand that history is ready to be rewritten. Yay, so exciting, so fun. Yeah, propaganda. Okay. All right, so that was just a little brief touch at where we're at. I wanted to start off with some interesting clips, like showcasing, because I haven't really talked about much the whole concept of talking heads and really understanding and breaking down these people who are puppets, who are just media puppets, who leverage their, their celebrity, they leverage their fame, or they're just propped up and through their sort of obligation, they have to push a specific narrative, But talking heads are very prominent. That's how a lot of these narratives get pushed out, especially around like celebrity. It's a huge component of it. So there is this interesting clip that I saw with, that I just was like, why do they have to do this? Why is this necessary? Like, why is this the trend? And it's just really weird how they keep reinforcing, because one of the principles of propaganda is you have to constantly reinforce. Constantly. Throw contradictory things in there just to spice it up, but you're constantly, perpetually reinforcing these narratives. You have to keep doing it. Otherwise, people will forget. It will naturally disintegrate and fall off because it's not real. It's weird. So people will it will slowly fade off into the background, kind of like that meme with Homer Simpson when he goes into the shrub. I wish I had that cute. But they have to constantly reinforce it. So, the race thing is still really, really big. And it's just weird to me seeing them constantly fetishize whiteness. It's so bizarre. But seeing this clip, I feel like you'll get what I'm saying. You'll get what I'm saying when you see this clip. Hold on. Okay.
As an Italian American, would you consider yourself a person of color?
No, definitely not. Although there have been whiter people in my life that said things to me.
What did they say to you, Julia?
Like, you're not really white.
Who's saying this to you?
I swear on everything I love that I know a woman who is that, like, white, that said that to me. And I used to have a lot of hair, like, before I got it all lasered.
Oh, she's a victim.
And she would say, like, it's because you're Italian,
So I guess Italians are like the black people of white people.
Like the same way that there's degrees to blackness, there's degrees to whiteness too.
I actually want to apologize to the Italian community for making light of any persecution. Honestly, Columbus, black man.
What? Oh my God. Yeah, like, what the heck? Like, what is going on? Like, see how it's just like Columbus is the worst man on the planet Earth, but now he's like in this video. Like, what is going on with these people? I just don't understand it. So it's weird how they have to prop it up. They have to fetishize it. They're like, oh, well, I'm not this type of white. I need this specific type of white. Like, what? Yeah, it's super cringe. It's like, what is going on? And that show, obviously, super woke, pushes all the stuff. And she's on there to just talk about her whiteness is not the same whiteness as what. Like, what? Where is she not white? Like, it's the dumbest thing. But this is their religion, fetishizing this ethnic group of people. That is what they live for. Once again, liberals. I know, it's so weird. It's so weird. And before we get into the heavy stuff, I also wanted to show you guys this interesting clip that I just thought was interesting. I just thought, because I look at all of my feeds, I look at all the media, and I see how they're constructing these narratives, how they're reinforcing things, even on the most subtle level that you don't pick up immediately, that doesn't really ring all of the alarm bells. Again, propaganda, effective propaganda doesn't have to make you just scream and shout and freak out and be super reactionary. It can be very subtle. It can be very strategic. And it just builds up over time, like sediment that builds up over time. And in this clip, I just thought it was very weird. Like, what do the people gain? What do they gain? I always ask myself, how are they gaining from this? How are they progressing society in a positive way with this narrative, you know? Me.
As an Italian American, would you consider yourself a person of color?
Now it's gonna do
definitely
here in
not.
this one.
Although there have been
for acting, and I don't currently act. I mentioned this in a video recently, and someone left a comment saying, why would someone go to college for a profession they're never going to use? What a waste of money. And I just wanted to address that first by saying I definitely don't think it was a waste. I use a lot of the information that I got in college, but also can we acknowledge what a flawed system we have in the US that we expect teenagers, 17 years old, literally 7 years away from having a fully developed brain, to make a very expensive decision on what they want to do for quote unquote the rest of their lives? That's crazy town. So many people don't end up doing what they went to college for. Robin Williams went to school for political science before realizing he wanted to be an actor. So if you also don't want to do what you decided you wanted to do when you were 17, join the club. We got plenty of time to figure it out.
It's just something about this video just was like completely disturbing to me. And it's weird. I don't like the
A waste of money. And
I don't like the like sort of trafficking victim makeup that Gen Z has either, where they don't put the foundation on, they just put the makeup like right on top. It's very like streetwalker. It's very weird. It's a very weird thing. So that all off the top like grosses me out. But then the idea of, oh, we're never going to commit to everything. We're just going to stay children forever. It's like, okay, who cares? Who cares if you didn't figure it out? You change. Or pick something reasonable, or listen to people who you can trust, maybe. I don't know. There's a lot of things you can do, but it just sort of creeped me out, that video. It's really weird. Yeah, it's like, yes, exactly. It sort of enraged you in a way you couldn't understand. I know, that's the thing. I just was like, why do I hate this so much? And why does this gross me out? And why does this disturb me? What? Like this non-commitment, this you don't have to grow up sort of thing. Though being pretty would help if you're gonna make a video like that. I know, like way close up to the face. She's like, look at me. Yeah, it's just Gen Z is unattractive. It's just they have a very interesting look because of all of their hormone problems. They look premenopausal at a very young age. They don't look good. They look like they've been worn out. A lot of them do. Not all of them, but a lot of them do. They genuinely look like they're in their 40s. It's really bizarre to me. I don't get it. The only thing that doesn't make them look like they're in 40s is their wrinkle pattern usually. They don't have the collagen loss. But overall, their like aura and everything is just like a weird premenopausal hormonal cues. I don't know. It's just bizarre. But I didn't like it. I didn't like it. So I'm going to be on the lookout. Oh, yes. Hey, Julius, what's up? You guys, chime in chat, super chat. Yes, thank you. Thanks, Julius. Okay. Yeah, just some creepy stuff. I'm gonna stay posted. I'm gonna see what the narrative comes with that, because I have to see it fits in line aesthetically with so many things that are happening. It's the very like we're not adults ever sort of vibe. I'm gonna see where it's going, if I see anything that correlates with it, because you have to look at the patterns and you have to see how are they pushing these narratives and what's like the ultimate conclusion for the narrative. You know, it's kind of bizarre that way. The whole identity is, oh yeah, exactly. Their whole identity is social media now. No, I totally agree. It's so bad. Poor children. Poor kids. All right. So we had so now we can get into like the sort of controversial sort of start tiptoeing into the more controversial stuff. I was on Twitter and I saw someone posted around this video around with Hilary Duff from the early 2000s. And this is where you see the progression of a narrative coming, because it never just starts with one statement and it ends there. It's always a progression. They're always like ratcheting up slowly. Usually, slower than others, depending on what it is they're trying to push. But it never starts in some isolated thing. It always keeps going toward their ultimate goal, which we know is like complete and total authoritarian one world government takeover. So there was a video that I thought was really interesting and very surprising to see, because it also mirrored a slogan that they recently used to weaponize against, Republicans who weaponize against people opposing certain curriculum being taught in schools. So it's really interesting to me how they reuse slogans that they know work. And it shows you it's so manufactured. It's so precise and calculated. Like, oh, this worked here. That seemed to stick to people. Let's just reuse it and use it for a different purpose. It's not really that people are doing things out of a genuine, oh, this is how we really feel sort of thing. It's just that they're just using things because they work. That's about it. Okay, so let's look at this video. I think you might remember it. I don't know. But here it is. Let's see.
Do you like this top?
It's the Don't Say Gay video with Hilary Duff from the early 2000s.
Do you like this top? It's so gay. Really? Yeah, it's totally gay.
You really shouldn't say that.
Say what?
Well, say that something's gay when you mean it's bad. It's insulting. What if every time something was bad, everybody said, oh, that's so girl wearing a skirt as a top?
Oh, you are.
Those are cute jeans, though. When you say that's so gay, do you realize what you say? Knock it off.
Knock it off. Don't say gay.
All right, we continue now with our great American
I
panel.
love how this is on like
debating the issue.
But it's interesting how they're able to do that.
Forced to provide birth control for people.
Okay, picture in picture. It's so interesting how they're able to do that, where they just reuse the same things over and over. And it's progressive, like, don't say gay. I mean, it makes sense, like, you don't want to insult people, but it's just interesting how those things march forward. And we know ultimately in Christendom, we have to be kind and caring, and that means complete and total obedience with the state and whatever they mandate. Double Layla, I know. Ooh, it's called The Rise of the Cluster Society. Oh, interesting comments. Cluster Society. Cluster B Society. Oh. Ratchet is correct. They definitely ratcheted up. You remember when that first came out? I know. I don't remember when that came out. I just remember that was a thing. You're not supposed to say that word anymore. And also retarded. You're not supposed to use retarded anymore. That would be rude to say to people, which makes sense. Developmental delays are not funny at all. It's not funny at all, but you have to see the patterns. And one way that you can sort of, I don't know, I find it like a game to play with people that's surprising to them and can be entertaining, is when you can show the progression of certain narratives and show the progression of things, because usually people will just call you conspiracy theorists. They'll say, you don't make sense, this comes out of nowhere. But then when they see how long these certain agendas and how pervasive they actually are, then they might sort of reconsider, okay, this seems a little deliberate in a way. Because for people, they take a lot of comfort in the illusion that these things are just random happenings. There's no collusion, there's no coordination. It just happened. It just so happens that in all these different countries, all of these migrants are, filling them up. It's just random. It's not planned or anything. It's just random. And people take a lot of comfort in that, which makes sense. I mean, people are always seeking comfort. So you can't really sort of burst their bubble immediately when it comes to those things. So if there's fun ways that you can sort of allude to something, introduce them to something, make them aware something might be happening, that's a really good thing. And it's the good stepping stone, the good starting point. It's not the saying it, it's the love telling us what we can and cannot say. Yeah. I always try to connect it back to experiences the other person has in their own lives. Exactly. It's really crucial to connect it there. All right. Classic gatekeep. Oh, yeah, that's true. The old classic gatekeep and gaslight tactic. Yeah, that's the way it is. You want to do that. And it keeps working. But the comfort aspect, and that's something we'll have to talk about more and I'll have to discuss more, is that when you're introducing these things, you have to know that you can't just burst people's bubbles. You can't just shock them so much, make it so disturbing, make it so uncomfortable that people are literally just their whole world breaks down, because it causes depression. It causes a lot of discomfort in their minds and in their everyday lives. So you can't do that. And there's no formal training around this. There's no if you're going to try to deprogram someone, this is what you would do. There's nothing like that. So people just usually tell other people all of the information they received, and they usually say it in a really abrupt, maybe debate style way, which doesn't really help either because it makes the other person defensive. So when you want to introduce a concept to someone, you have to make sure you're doing it in the most comfortable, nice way, so their whole sense of reality isn't completely shattered if they have to agree or concede on a few points that you're making. And that's let them have their cake. Okay. What's that? When I see a man drinking soya milk, I still think it's gay. Yeah, the poison's everywhere. Yes, shattering delusions does cause a lot of internal angst. It does. It does cause a lot of... We're too focused on being right rather than trying to help inform people and doing it in the right and proper way. That's the difference. Okay. So I don't know if you guys saw this, and I'm probably going to get in trouble for talking about this, but I think it's a really important part. I think it's a really important point, I would say, which is this map, this diagram, and I put a community post about this. What if only non-white people voted? I thought it was really interesting. And as you can see, the country would be very Democrat. We wouldn't have much Republican impact. Not at all. Not at all. It would be a very clearly a Democrat government run by one party. Totally. And there's also one where they talk about, what if women voted and all that stuff. So fun stuff. I don't want to get into that because then that's too much of the gender war. I need to stay out of that. Oh, that psyop is so heated. But I thought this was really interesting because a lot of people, especially the influencer, like Matt Walsh, declaring that, that voting is not really a fundamental right. Participating in the government, paying taxes is necessary, but your ability to decide who's in the government is not necessarily a right that you have. Okay. Okay, great. This is really gonna work, you guys. It's really gonna work. Now I put this Nina Turner thing, the quiet part, out loud because we know the Democrats already, they heavily utilize, they want to do the voter ID. They want to take away people's right to vote. They don't want people to be able to vote. They don't want us to let it vote. We need to be able to vote. We need to be able to make an impact, vote, our voices heard. So they already use this narrative. They already use this a lot against Republicans, a lot against Republican candidates, to obviously discredit them, to make them, racist, evil, all the things, okay? Besides whatever point you have against them or dislike them for or disagree with them in terms of policy, they use this as a very clear narrative, okay? That they want to strip rights from people to vote. That's done all the time. Now, we're going to look at the clip and then we're going to get into it, but it's just like, why? Why? My question is why? Why, of all the things, do we need to fuel that narrative? Why do we need to put, fuel behind that? Of all the things to discuss, of all the things to focus on, of all the narratives to push, why would that be something conservative influencers, especially, okay, maybe regular people can talk about whatever they want, but why would conservative influencers need to push that and need to throw extra logs on that fire so it can be weaponized against Republicans? It doesn't make any sense. And that's why it's just so disturbing to me from a practical standpoint. Why do you need to do that? It's like, okay, all right. This is perfect. This is what we need. Sure. We need this. This, out of all the things, this is what we need. So here's the clip.
These people should not be allowed to vote. I mean, you hear people say that in a half-joking way. I can't believe these people can vote. But really, they shouldn't be able to. Actually, they should not be able to vote. That should be something that becomes a serious topic of conversation. Okay, like the kind of thing that comes up on presidential debates. Okay, like an issue that political parties have to deal with in their platforms. We should really be talking about this. That there are a lot of people who are voting in this country who should not have that right. They don't deserve it. And as I've tried to explain many times, the right to vote is not a God-given right guaranteed to everybody regardless of anything. It's not. Okay, it's not fundamental to your human nature that you automatically are entitled to have a say over the political system in your country. It's not. There are some basic guidelines that should be in place. You should have to earn that right. Not everybody should have it. And it is so incredibly obvious that if you are an absolute oblivious moron who knows nothing about your own country or the political or the government that runs it, then you shouldn't have any say over it.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's awesome. So you should earn the right to vote. Again, you're going to be fueling a narrative that the Democrats are already using. They're already using it. It's already it's a well-tested propaganda narrative, like a propaganda point. And then he's going to go ahead and fuel that. You need to earn the right to vote. So if we look at the map again, this is what it would look like if only non-white people voted. So what does that tell you? Oh, it seems like if we want to have a great country, we should definitely make it so non-white people don't get to vote. because, I mean, they're going to side with the Democrats. Like, hello. And then the whole idea that you should earn it, okay, your taxes are being taken. You should, if it's about earning it, then maybe you should be able to opt out. Like, if you want to, like, people should be able to opt out, right, of the federal government, basically. Is that what they're proposing? Like, who exactly? Because these people, this is the thing. I don't dislike the left just solely on the fact that they're leftists. A lot of the things that leftists have and they complain about, like the traditional leftists, not the like crazy cult of Satan leftists, not the queer Marxist leftists, I'm talking about just general leftists. They focus on a lot of the things that are important, you know, and there's a lot of overlap there, especially because they used to advocate for people, for individual rights and things like that. That's what they used to advocate for. They were against, you know, big organizations like the WHO and the World Economic Forum. They used to be. Now they're not anymore. Who decides who has the right to vote and who's earned the vote? Who decides that? Because I don't dislike the left just because they're leftists. I hate them because now they're authoritarians, simple authoritarians. And when someone like that conservative influencer, who, by the way, just does a terrible job with the like gender war stuff, who decides? Who comes up with this? What authoritarian ruler decides who has merit and who doesn't? And again, what frustrates me about Republicans is that they never want to focus on the actual cause of any of these issues. Oh, they're just stupid and they're just dumb and they don't know anything about their government. When, as we'll see, the Republicans under Bush were the ones who introduced this amazing reformation to the education system, the Common Core and on No Child Left Behind. Like, they're the ones who introduced that. So they made the education system even worse. It was already bad, and then they made it even worse by making sure there was no critical thinking involved. They stripped a lot of that out. So it's like, so you get to decide, even though you've already proven that you don't know how to educate, you can't control the education system, you've completely lost control of the cultural institutions, you've completely lost control of the culture, you have no influence, nobody likes you, your messaging is flat everywhere, almost universally, or in every like major city, let's say. Why do you get to decide? People don't actually like you. That doesn't make any sense. But this is their logic. They never want to really fix a problem. They just want to help polarize people so that they can get the clicks and likes and the, you know, the rage bait and all that stuff. Like, oh, just like, so you're just going to ban all the non-whites from voting. I'm sure that's going to go over well. I'm sure that's not going to usher in communism even faster. Literally overnight, it will be done. Overnight. Let them, Matt Walsh's advice. Oh, some major political people should talk about this and they should discuss it. That will put communism, it will be done. We will have a total communist nation. Like, are you kidding? Are you insane? Like, how easy would that be? I just think that they have to at this point be working to speed that process up. They really have to. Because their messaging is trash. It's not about, maybe his messaging and his core idea is that you shouldn't have uninformed voters. Okay, that's great. So what are you doing to ensure that people are engaged and informed? Calling them whores? Calling them Satanists? Calling them sinful? Like, what are you doing? Nothing. Condemning them? Calling them stupid and lazy and bad people. Yeah, that's how you win someone over and you educate somebody. It's not about actually fixing the problem, and that is the overwhelming problem. Like both sides, okay, both sides, because I hate the whole two wings of the same bird. When in fact, I can see that that's the case because right now, the Republican influencers, a lot of them are working really, really hard to usher in this communist utopia with hot takes like that. Like, honestly, I can't imagine. Should education not be national, done locally or state level? No, I don't think the whole Common Core thing was intentional to improve education. Oh, what is the bar? I would think understanding money is way more important than understanding U.S. history. Yeah, I don't know. That's the thing. If you want to fix the problem of uninformed voters, which is an actual issue, then you need to do the work to do that. Not just say, "Oh, they shouldn't be able to vote. We don't like what they vote for, so we're not going to let them vote." The white birth rates are declining regardless, but I believe hearts and minds is the way to go. Race should not define the beliefs at the end of the day. Yeah, well, the messaging appeals to a certain demographic. Like, we know that it appeals to one different demographic over the other. Yeah. The map, if only men voted, is almost all red. Okay, so that's the other thing, too. Like I said, the country was destroyed by both Republicans and Democratic Party. Okay? Because the education system and that whole new Common Core thing was introduced through Bush. That he was the one, no child left behind. So he destroyed the ability for people, this generation that we're seeing now, this monstrosity, this like disgusting, like social media addicted generation. They can't critically think because of the way education was reformed. So they did that. So why exactly would somehow making it all red or making it all blue make a difference when both are working and putting in policies that don't actually solve the problem? That's the thing. We look at it right now, today. Oh, and Republicans were really pushing for the war, weren't they? That war that just like took 20 years, 30 years, killed a lot of people over, some would say, a total lie. So it has to be a balance. It can't just be, oh, Republicans are right, that's it. If they change their mind, that's it. They can switch it. They switch sides. Some guys, sometimes one's the good guy, sometimes one's the bad guy. Obviously, the Marxists really work well with the Democrats, but as we can see, the Republicans are working really hard to play their counter narrative role that reinforces whatever it is that the Democratic messaging is. So like we saw in that Nina Turner quote, she's saying, oh, they're saying the quiet part out loud now because they've been hinting and telling and hinting, oh, they don't want you to be able to vote. And then here comes a conservative influencer who's telling other conservatives, hey, why don't we push so that we can stop people from being able to vote? Don't you think that's going to benefit them in the long term? Don't you think that's going to help them? Because they don't push narratives. That's the thing. The Democrats don't push narratives that they know are not effective. They're much better propagandists, I have to say, at this point. Well, actually, Republicans are really good propagandists if their goal is to expedite the conversion of this country into a total communist state. Understanding in general requires critical thinking. Exactly. So you build a system where the people cannot critically think and don't understand these things. Oh, let's not forget, they're also being poisoned by the food that they're eating, which has a huge impact on cognitive development and your ability to think. Brain fog is a real thing. Just in general, your overall health is impacted, especially if you're a child. Like, whatever, that's a long rant. But we have this food system, we have the education system, and then you're going to turn around and say, because these people are dumb and fat or just whatever, they don't vote the way we want them to vote, or they're not informed based on the fact that we want them to be informed to accept our messaging, that's really not targeted to them, that's kind of degrading to them overall a lot of the time, especially from the influencer side. So yeah, we're going to just strip their vote. Like, what? This doesn't make any sense. It's terrible. It's a terrible strategy. And it doesn't have to be like that. Yeah. Bush's father said New World Order. Yeah, he has a speech where he talked about the New World Order. Exactly. So it's not just vote red or vote blue. They both destroyed the country. Republicans and Democrats both destroyed the country. Okay? They didn't stop. Republicans never stopped the fact that the institutions were being captured. The education system was being captured. They didn't stop that. They didn't push to improve the culture and direct culture narratives. Like, they didn't do that. So now what? It's easy to demonize your opponent or point the finger and say, oh, they're the problem. But you're never going to find a solution if you just point the finger. Yeah, Nikki says, who gets to decide what informed enough to vote is? That's central planning. It's just like Common Core, and look at the results. Exactly. It's just another form of authoritarianism. Who gets to decide? Oh, if you have wealth and you have property, that's who gets to decide. So basically, Bill Gates, BlackRock, Vanguard will control the vote because they could easily buy up all the property that they wanted. They have an unlimited, and they're actively doing that. So just go ahead and give them. Obviously, money should be the determining factor, right? It's ridiculous. It's complete authoritarianism, and the fact people are so short-sighted and they cannot see that the inevitable conclusion of these actions, because they feel like, oh, it's gonna fix this problem of bad, stupid people that we keep seeing all the time in the TikTok videos. Those people are mentally ill, okay? They're obviously mentally ill people brought on by myriad of factors. It could be themselves, their bad decisions. It could be, again, the fact that they've been poisoned intentionally. I can't get over that. That's a big deal. There's a lot of reasons. But because that's what people see, they focus on that and they demonize that and they say, oh, okay, yeah, go ahead, strip their rights. Go ahead and do that. Based on what factors, it's still the same system. You're putting in an authoritarian system that has the rights to say, oh, you don't get to participate and who governs you. They get to steal your money through taxation, but you don't have the right to, even cast a stupid vote. But okay, sure, that's gonna work. It's gonna work, I'm sure. What is this? Bush Sr. by the head of the CIA. Bush Sr. was the head of the CIA, yeah. Served as the director of Central Intelligence, yeah. Yeah, it's just so bad. Yeah, the progressives and Dems are the same people. George W. Bush's people, same bird, two wings. Really is true. The real fight, individual versus collectivism. Yeah, that's the real fight. So whenever you see it rear its ugly head, that's why you have to understand the factors of things. That you have to understand not just the labels of something, but what are the characteristics of that thing. You have to see past the label, because the propaganda can easily make the label seem to look like anything it wants it to make it look like. It can make you perceive anything. But if you don't understand the underlying characteristics that make up that thing, you're going to get lost and you're going to agree and decide, hey, it's great to just let these people, I guess Matt Walsh, I don't know, decide who has the right to vote and who's worthy based on their opinion. Like, what? Maybe they are informed and they're informed on the things that they actually care about and they just don't agree with you. Oh, but because they don't agree with you, they're obviously stupid and wrong. Who is coming up with this ridiculousness? Like, this is so bad. It's just, oh my God. Literally why our country was started. I know, it's just have Matt Walsh be the king. He can make all women, like, be stay-at-home moms, because that will fix everything. And then, yeah, it will be utopia. It will be the conservative utopia. Yay, it's so perfect and everything's great, and we can deny human nature and pretend that immorality doesn't exist because we have these weird authoritarian rules. It's stupid and it's short-sighted. I would agree with anything if it works, but it's not going to work because it's still authoritarianism, okay? It's very short-sighted, and it doesn't actually solve the problem. It doesn't solve the problem. If you can tell me what's... Oh, whoa. Okay. The only question here is how do we... my real question here is how do we truly fight back against this overly corrupt system? Well, the way to truly fight back is through education. Obviously, people don't know what they don't know. Separate money from the state. Yeah, that's also good in the Fed. But people don't understand. They're just being told things. Their traumas, their fears are being weaponized against them through the propaganda and the media. They don't understand, and they don't have the foresight to say, hey, like for example, they don't have the foresight to say, oh, open borders will probably lead to XYZ consequences. Let me reconsider it. No, they're just propagandized too. They're told, oh, you have to do this. This is what's caring. This is what's loving. And then they build a false association where a caring and loving person would obviously just allow an open borders policy. So they go along with it, and so on and so forth. They just keep doing those things over and over again. And no one really understands or is equipped to counter those narratives in your everyday life or on small scales. They just want to keep sensationalizing and creating these polarizing narratives like what Matt Walsh is doing. It's not going to fix the problem. You're just going to keep polarizing people, and it's like James Lindsay says, entrenching them in their side, never letting people actually come together and realize that, oh, actually a lot of old leftists, they really overlap with a lot of the MAGA people and how they think things should be. They have just different methods, but their concerns are the same. So if their concerns are the same, they can come to a solution of how to solve it. And I'm not trying to equate the leftists with like the current leftists who are just demon cult people. What is this? Separate money from the state. Ever trying to take crack away? Separate money from the state. Ever try to take crack away from an addict? I know. That's, yeah. They're gonna quit, really. No, that's just a phone. Sorry about the background noise. Sorry about that. It just won't stop. Beep, 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 beep. Oh, Nikki. Oh, Nikki's like on fire. Same way we defeat the oppressive central religion with the printing press, decentralizing education. Exactly. People are not aware of what they're not aware of. People are not. They're malleable. They have certain goals. They have certain things they want to achieve. But they don't have the capacity or the information, as crazy as it seems, because, we're literally in a time where all of human history is like, there's no limitation on access to information, but for some reason, there's an issue with that. We have to educate people. We have to let them understand. We have to propagandize them. We have to, essentially deprogram them, whatever you want to call it, to get them to realize we don't want to eat bugs. Okay? Because that's my central thing. I don't want to have to eat bugs, and I don't want a social credit score system. Because those things are already built. They're already built. They're ready to go. And I just want them to not launch it. I want to avoid that. Oh my God. It's crazy. So crazy. Yes, individualism, meritocracy, and private property rights for the win. Must keep planting seeds and keep. Yes, actually, the printing press. The printing press in the 1400s brought the Bible to print to the masses. Well, still, it helped for education, not eat bugs. Oh my God, no, not eat bugs, but I've seen celebrities eating them. They're fine. Yeah, they're fine. We don't need that trend to catch on. Okay, stop. So, do you get what I'm saying? Do you understand? We have to. There's also prioritizing things that are important. Like, we need to make sure that we just don't get people to commit to these horrible, insane agendas that are going to be really difficult to break free of. Like, really difficult. Because once they put a social credit system in, then that's kind of hard to break free and undo. And once they're conditioned to utilize it, yeah, you're not getting them back for a while. So that's what we have to pay attention to. Monkey see, monkey do. That's what we have to pay attention to. And it's just so disheartening and frustrating to see so many influencers, especially on the right, like doing the whole misogyny thing, doing the whole, oh, this women, this, women, that. It's like, even if all of that is true, do you see how well the Democratic Party is doing with all those women that they appeal to? They're clearly winning on many, many fronts. They've captured the children, the overwhelming majority of children. Let's not be in a fantasy realm. They've captured the overwhelming majority of children, so they're breeding the next, or they're not breeding, but they're educating and indoctrinating the next phase of the evolution of their cause, okay? They have all of these institutions. They have the medical, legal, like all of these institutions are compromised. So if it is, even if it is true that women are like the source of all evil in the world and shouldn't have rights, maybe be smart in the way you message that. I'm just saying. I would just be smart about it. That's all I'm saying. I would just be smart about it. Like, so you don't lose. Because the way to further lose and just fuel the fire and get more and more on the other side is ranting and raving in these horrible narratives. It's not working. It's clearly not working. And propaganda, the main goal, the only goal of propaganda is ineffectiveness to create the desired action. Not how you feel about something. It is about the effectiveness of the propaganda to create the desired action. So that's what you need to focus on. Not your personal feelings about, oh, I don't like these women. They're going off and they're doing cruises by themselves and they're making shashuka. Like, I never thought that would be a thing. Like, all this ridiculousness. Put it to the side. Wait a second. Be strategic. Okay? That's all I'm saying. I don't really even care. I'm just saying, let's be strategic. That's all that matters. You don't just say things just to say it because it makes you feel good. Everything you do, everything you say when you're running a propaganda campaign, when you're trying to influence people, has to be strategic. It can't be based on what you personally in the moment want. It has to be what will make your goal be achieved. You need to remove human influence from Oni. Gold played this, but it wasn't portable. But that is the key. Property, nobility, human influence. Okay, interesting. Oh, nice. Okay. I won't trust a Republican as far as I could throw him. And a Democrat half as far. That's a good point. That's a good point. It's really bad. So let's look at the video for the Common Core, the trailer. I'm going to try to find the actual video for it because I think it's an interesting video and it would be really good to see how these things have evolved over time. Let me grab it. Building the machine. Here we go. I'm gonna make myself pretty small so it's not.
These are 45 states that have voluntarily come together to create fewer, higher, deeper standards. They're world class.
The 5 people who didn't agree to sign the letter simply were expunged from the record.
The real issue in American education is that people without a whole lot of experience are dictating education policy.
I'm trying to think of something analogous to this that slipped through so easily on a national basis. I really can't.
Most meaningful reform of our public schools in a generation.
Throw away their local standards. And so I think just being straightforward, continuing to tell the truth is very important.
We had to sign a confidentiality agreement that we would not ever discuss what took place in the meeting itself.
It's Common Core's controversial race to the middle.
The biggest misconception that Common Core proponents push on people is that there is any evidence that a system like Common Core will benefit children.
To do education reform right, you need standards, but you also need greater parental choice. And I think the best argument for this Common Core are the standards themselves.
It takes power from the parent. It de-incentivizes the parent from a deep and abiding interest in their child's education.
Don't stand for this. Right? You're sitting here like cattle. You have questions. You want them. They don't want it.
They're not accountable to the public.
What is the best case scenario that you foresee?
I don't see any.
Show us the most innovative plans to improve teacher quality and student achievement. We'll show you the money. We launched a competition called Race to the Top. And these standards were developed, by the way, not by Washington, but by Republican and Democratic governors throughout the country.
The Common Core is a project of 2 organizations in Washington, D.C.
People need to know about the Common Core because standards undergird everything in the education system.
The federal government was pushing states to align.
They're trying to quantify everything, and this will make it all right. No, we'll be a nation where nobody's brilliant.
The people who support Common Core believe in elites and bureaucrats telling thousands of other people what to do.
You remember The Wizard of Oz, where he was a little man standing behind the big controls, but in this case, there isn't even a little man.
Okay, very interesting. Very interesting. Yes, I have a late show. Hey. So I think hopefully I can find that video because I think that would be really interesting to discuss in more detail, get some good clips. But overall, I think this has been a good little discussion to cover some of the strange propaganda narratives that are coming out. Like, I don't understand. Yeah, it looks like a good documentary, but I did find it on DVD. So, all right. So, that's all I have to discuss today. But I think that I definitely know that I need to do more members only stuff. I know. I definitely need to do more members only stuff because it's just been so long. Oh, thanks, Colt. Let's see. Super chat. They're grooming kids to see themselves as victims, to use them as political pawns. The goal is to raise the critical consciousness through Paulo Freire's indoctrination. Exactly. Yes, very, very true. Thanks, Colt, for summarizing that for everybody. So, if that's the goal, eventually everyone's going to be stripped. And then what? Oh, we just make it so that only the elite people who have been predetermined should be able to vote. And that's not going to be weaponized against us by the communists. So if they put that in place, let's say it is, Republicans or whatever who get it. You don't think that could be weaponized against us? But great super chat. Thanks so much. I really appreciate it. But yeah, so great closing statement. But yeah, let's stay informed. Let's stay on top of it. Let's make sure all of our messaging is really succinct and will achieve the goal that we're looking for. Let's not try to, the main takeaway is let's not try to reinforce the enemy's narrative through shouting things that will make it so easy for them to say, see, they're all the demons that we said they are. They're so bad that people that we've been saying they are for years. Let's not do that. All right, you guys, I will take off of here and I will see you guys next week. And I definitely want to plan a members only thing. It's been so long. Oh my God, I'm so bad. But I really appreciate all the support and seeing you all here. And I hope you have a great weekend. Talk to you soon.